Oh, my book's over here. I didn't bring it.
Hi,
Yay!
everyone.
Hi, Candace. Hi, Abby. Hi, Kelly. And hi, Jen. Yay!
Hi, Jen. Hi. Oh my gosh.
Yay!
All of our friends are here. I
So
love it.
exciting.
The
Yes.
gang is all here.
I'm in the kitchen on this weird angle because I have to make some food for my daughter. So if you're wondering also why I look like this, that's why. Because we just went. I realized that the shop that I wanted to go to that's up north a little bit wasn't going to be open tomorrow like I thought it was because it's a public holiday weekend. So I was like, I must go immediately. And I actually am glad that I did because I scored some super good stuff, which I'll show you guys later. So yeah, but I'm going to be making some food while we talk about the diviners. So
okay.
Yes.
Yay.
I'm going to make a, do you guys have these like toasty pie machines? I'm gonna make her.
Yeah, we have like George Foreman grills. I'm guessing that's like
it's kind of like that, except mine's real gross, but it's like pie shaped. I don't know. It's like a weird one. I'm pretty sure it's a New Zealand and Australian like thing. So
I just realized my hair looks really asymmetrical. I've never noticed that before.
I don't. Do you mean the length of it? I don't think it looks asymmetrical. Is it just because you have a side parting?
Maybe. I'm looking at it. I'm like, I look so weird. Everyone's like, what is going on? Hello, everyone.
Yay, Sheena's here. I'm so excited. Oh, actually, I did just see Kelly did message and say that she can't stay on for long. And I do have something that I really want to show her that I picked up, which is super exciting when I was out. So I went out because I wanted to I went up to this shop that like charges way too much for old comics, but I wanted to see if I could find any like Wander and Vision stuff, which I didn't really, but I did find something that I had been looking at, like wasting heaps of money on eBay on, which is this.
Oh, it's Gambit and Rogue. That's my wife. That's my husband.
I know. So I thought Kelly would like to see this. So yeah, I'm super stoked. It's like a little funky up the top, but like still, instead of me spending like $50 on eBay on this, I was like, oh my God. And then I got a couple other covers that have Gambit and Rogue on them as well.
That's so cute.
And I'm pretty sure someone had hidden them because they were shoved under a whole lot of like Mad magazines and not really with the rest of the comics. So I was like, oh, I'm onto you, sucker. I've got them now. So I also got this like low-key sexy one of Magneto. So
Magneto is very cool. I like him a lot.
Yeah. We got this one just because it had like a little tiny Scarlet Witch and Vision on it.
Oh, so, yeah, on the side, I see.
That was cool. And this one also has Gambit on it. So
handsome.
I spent way too much money on those, but I was like so stoked. So yeah.
Well, it's a good haul. It's a really good comic haul.
Yeah, and like I knew that I wouldn't be able to go up there any other time. So I was like, I'm sorry, guys.
Like, it's now or never.
Yeah, exactly. Because yeah, it's like a long weekend, and normally I would have other stuff to do today, but I'm going to do all tomorrow. So yeah, I love how everyone says hi to each other.
I know, it's so fun.
Ever.
So we all read the Diviners. Hi.
Yes.
We all read the Diviners. I actually finished it at like 5. I'm trying to think of this. Like I finished it at like 5:20 today.
Oh my God.
Yep, that's when I finished it. It was a time. I was like listening to. I like had the book and I had the audiobook and I would switch between like 3 times speed and 2.5 speed, like while I was like flipping through the pages because I was like, I need to finish this book. So that was my reading journey with this.
It's the kind of book that you can do that with and you don't really feel like you're like missing too much because it is like the writing is like a little bit fluffy, you know? So I feel like that's still like a fun experience for sure. I had like such a dumb work week, so I finished it up like at work, which was like such a good choice because it kept my brain like
stimulated.
Yeah, exactly, like out in la la land. So it was really good. It's so much fun. I really love Henry and Theta together. Oh, I think they're so cute. I was so excited when they like found each other again, like right at the end. I was like, thank God.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So I guess, do you want to start or should I start?
You start because you're more well-spoken than me and you usually have talking points. I'm just like,
all right. So the Diviners. This was definitely very interesting read. I think everyone here read it, but in case you didn't, this is basically about a woman named Evie O'Neill who goes from Ohio to New York and gets to spend like the summer. It's like 1926 in New York at her uncle's like creepy crawly museum of oddities and strange spooky things. And murders start occurring that have to do with the occult, I think is a pretty good summary of the book, is basically. Yeah. And this book aesthetically and like the vibe of it is very fun. I really enjoyed my time like being like hot and center in like the bustling towns of New York, because I think one thing Libby Bray did, and there's like an afterwards in the back where she was talking about how she actually did look through like historical articles and like tabloids and news printing and like talk to like old timey New Yorkers so that like she could really get a feel for the language. And even though sometimes it seemed a little kooky, I really loved the dialect and jargon, like casually like spoken. And it was really fun to listen to the audiobook too, because like of all of the accents.
Yeah.
It was just I really liked that a lot.
This book was the berries.
It was hot and toddy, baby.
I like the part where Libba Bray said that there was like a Hotsy Totsy club, and then she decided to keep the name because it just fit with the story and like what she was writing. And I thought that was so cute. And I think she said that the Bennington wasn't real, but it was like based on like other sort of like stereotypical hotels from that time period, which I also thought was really cute, because I felt like that was such a pivotal, like sort of immersive place when you get there with Evie and she's sort of like meeting Mabel at the Bennington and stuff like that. That was sort of like where it really pushes you into feeling immersed in the world that Libba Bray had built. I felt like anyway. I don't know if you felt the same, but I kind of felt like it was so easy from that point to be like, whoo, I'm in 1926 New York. So
yeah, I felt like reading, I was like, I am sprawled out on a couch in a bar, like in the lobby of a hotel, like with my fave girls, and we're like just drinking like martinis and listening to a piano player playing like fast and loose. Like this is what we were doing.
That was so good.
I liked really liked the vibes of it, and I liked Evie as a character a lot. And I loved Memphis. Theta and Henry are super cool. Her uncle, not a fan.
Henry.
Her uncle
loved him.
I don't remember. Her uncle was just kind of like, I wish you were cooler, man. He's so cool. Either the way that he talks, and I was like, you are a very like high strung, like tight individual. And I was like, I wouldn't expect that from like a man who's has like an occult museum. I would expect him to be a little more
kooky. But I like the reveal at the end with Sam and Sam like getting the name and like all that kind of stuff, and like revealing the department of the supernatural or whatever it was, and how Will had like worked there. And so it's like, oh, that's why he has the museum, like that's his interest in it, right? And then like, I just want to know more now, which was another thing I think she did really well. Like she gave us, that is kind of something she did well, but also as like a critique. I felt like you got a whole lot of threads, like heaps and heaps of them, but a lot of them weren't tied off at the end of this book because it is like written to be a series, which is kind of unsatisfactory, I find, even though it does make you want to read the next one. But it also made the book feel like it was too long and needed to be like trimmed down quite a lot.
Yeah, I think the pacing was very bad, if I'm being completely honest, and it definitely detracted from my overall enjoyment for it, because I can tell she wanted to like drop these like threads, and I can tell I think it was around halfway through, like as we started knowing more about like Memphis and like his life, and then learning more about like Theta, and then like as like the continued murders start occurring, and I was like, yeah, I could tell what you're doing, and I like world building, but the world building like started feeling, as opposed to immersive, kind of like dragging. And I was like, okay, I get it. And I was like, I know there's like 2 other books, but please, I can only take so much. But it's not bad though. It's not like unenjoyable. It's just like, I wish I didn't notice it.
Yeah. But it also, like, on the flip side, I personally felt like it made the audiobooks more enjoyable, because it was something that you could listen to while you were, which I like to do, while you're doing your chores, or you're, like doing like work or like editing or whatever on the computer, because it kind of did drag through some of those like world building or like extra charactery type moments. It was kind of like you weren't particularly worried about missing anything, because you knew like, well, there's going to be more books and like whatever. So I liked that, but it is a criticism at the same time. Like, as you say, like, you do notice it. So it's like, but then it made the audiobooks work better. So
yeah, I thought
it was interesting.
I also believe, am I incorrect when I say this is a YA book? Is this YA?
I think it is YA.
I don't want to be rude in case it's not YA, but I think it is, and I think that might be
EV-17. So I think that must be written for a YA target audience. Although I've never seen it in the YA section of any like bookstores or anything. So
I could be incorrect on that. No, it was, let's see, Praise for the Diviners, YA book of the year, best book of the year, best YA book for adults, young adult science fiction and fantasy. How were you able to do this stream after you were watching David Lynch's Dune last night? You know what? Good question. So I watched David Lynch's Dune last night. It was really bad. It wasn't really good. It made me really sad. I love David Lynch so much. Like, I really do. And I think he's phenomenal. And then I watched that movie and I was like, bro, you really dropped the ball on this, man.
Yeah. I watched that video that you had talked about in one of the Dune Over episodes, where it's like the trailer for the new Dune movie spliced with the scenes of the David Lynch Dune movie, and the shields. I was like, no, that's a hard no from me. I can't. The like square, like weird shield situation versus that compared to the new movie where they just look fuzzy. I was like,
yeah, big no. It looks like it looks like Minecraft fighting.
Yeah, it definitely
at least does. You didn't have to wait 3 years for book 2. True.
That would have been painful. Yeah.
Reading this book before book 2, I was able to work while listening to the whole book, but the voice acting made the experience better. I do, yes, the narrator was incredibly wonderful. Pops up in the really YA.
Good. It pops up in the YA and Audible. Okay. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think which is why I feel bad criticizing like the world building and the pacing, because I can recognize that me being able to read that and like catch on to it, I feel like is just like a byproduct of like knowing like, oh, like I like, you can tell a difference. It doesn't detract, but it's definitely like a different writing style for like a different kind of audience.
Yeah. But in it being YA, and like that can be like a criticism, obviously, but it does make it the kind of book that I definitely want to like listen to on audio again as like a comfort read, because it, it is easy and it is enjoyable, and it does like hit a lot of notes that I find really comforting, like in the stuff that we talked about in the like, 1920s New York setting. And I think this and Clockwork Angel and like the Cassandra Clare books, because you do get like sucked into that world and it is written for a YA audience, it does just feel comforting and like fun, and like my brain doesn't have to do anything with that, and it's just like, oh cool, like I like these characters in this world. And but yeah, definitely it is like a obviously written for YA. It's not, it doesn't cross over very much, I don't think.
so much more from this book. I think
Yeah.
Libby Bray did a really great job at characterization, and I think she did a great job with world building, but I feel like she spent so much time with setting as
Yeah.
opposed to like really talking about like the societal implications of like this magical world and this like
Yeah.
order, because she was so focused on like all these separate characters coming into their own and like with their magic, that I feel like maybe and hopefully in book 2 we'll see more.
Yeah.
But like I was just like, where is it? Like I want to know how this society functions. I want to know how they end up integrating, which is like weird because at the end when you know, her uncle, like Evie's uncle's like, I'm gonna send you back to like Ohio, like you like
Yeah.
stupid girl. And she's like, you think I'm stupid? I'm gonna tell the reporters that I'm magical and
Yeah.
I'm staying here. And she's just like, she just like tells the world and like the newspaper, and they're just like, oh, we don't believe that. And then they like, she, you know, she uses her powers, and then it was really interesting, and I felt like that was like so like I was like, but where was that type of energy like a little bit earlier on? I think it could have
Yeah.
definitely it was like, could you
I,
imagine, because like as they're solving the murders of like Naughty John, I feel like if there was more openness about like this magic that they have, I feel like they could have been solved quicker. And I feel like a
yeah.
lot of the like time wasted on like these like separate like murder scenes could
Hmm.
have like been expedited. I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of trimming that could have been like, I feel like things could have been reworked, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. And like it is a pet peeve of mine for YA books in particular that miscommunication is so often used to like lengthen or flesh out a plot, because you see it so often, and I always find it so irritating because if you just said one thing earlier, you know, you could trim down the whole plot and make it more concise and like all of that kind of thing. And it's kind of like I don't know, like why YA authors feel the need to drag their books out so much longer by using miscommunication as a plot device. Like I find that so annoying, and it is like one reason that YA is like more of a like comfort thing for me, because you don't want to think about it too much, because then you're just like, why?
Yeah.
Why do you make that choice?
I don't know why, but when I was reading The Diviners and like kind of to go on with like SJ, I like was expecting, not like I wasn't expecting like ninth house like at all. I was definitely expecting that kind of like intense like occult horror vibe
Yes.
from it. But I think the distinction is that ninth house is adult fiction, and so we
Yeah.
were able to get that edge and that like visceral spookiness and that like deep diving into occult stuff, whereas like
Yeah.
with the Diviners it's very surface level, and it is like
Yeah.
I could, in my head, I know it's supposed to be creepy, but I ended up feeling like, not in a bad way, like I very much like I had fun with this book, but I think it like, I was just like, oh, that's cute,
Yeah.
is instead of like, oh my god, like this is like a lot.
Yeah.
I think Libby Bray gets better with the balance and pacing with books 2 and 3, but she really completely pulls off that in the last book. Uh-oh.
I especially felt that way because, like, look at the cover, the New Zealand and Australian cover. Like, you definitely get more of an occult, like, sell from this, like, style and cover-wise than you do from the, like, reprint paperback version that you see everywhere for it now. And I wonder if that's why they chose that, like, pink, more bright color to do the rest of the books and to reprint the paperbacks, and because they were like, oh well, actually it ended up being like this, so we can use this marketing for it now. Yeah,
it could have had such a like cool goth vibe, but
yeah,
it
100%.
it's like halfway there. Aren't nearly as strong in the other 3 books. Wait, there's 4 books? I thought there were 3 books.
Yeah, there's 4 books.
Oh, I didn't know that. Cool.
I feel like if I read this when I was 16, I would have loved it, and it would have like really pushed me down the more like this type of book path, I think. So I do think that it is super cool to see this in like the YA section of the libraries and stuff like that, because I'm like, more goth books for the children. Make the children goth.
Yeah, because like when I was like actually reading, like when the Naughty John song like happens, like while I was reading it, and I was just like, Ew. But like in the audiobook, it was like contextualized and like the narrator was so good that I was like, oh, okay, I kind of see like the spooky vibe here, but like, oh man. Because like I was such a horror like fiend. So like for me, it was just like, oh, I wanted so much more, and I don't get to. Bye, Dan. Thanks for coming.
Thank you for your support, as always.
Oh, but yeah, as Abby said, dialogue, Unk, very strange, very odd.
Such a weird choice, but was that like a normal thing to do in the 1920s?
I think it was because in Plain Bad Heroines by Emily and Danforth. I love it. It's one of my favorite books now, like ever.
Got it. I need it.
There is like a 1920s, 1910s like story like line in there, and I believe there is some shortening of like familial words when like other people were speaking. So I think that might have just been like a cultural norm, but yeah, it was a little weird. I want to say though, Sam absolutely stole my heart. I love Sam. He was a very fun secondary character.
He was. I have read like 4 chapters of the second book, and he does have a stronger presence in the second book so far, which I'm super excited about because I thought his storyline was so interesting in the way he pops up like right at the start of the book, and like how he pops up throughout, and it's not really told like what he really wants, except for that part where he weasels his way into the museum. But like, yeah, I'm really interested. Like that's like a main driving force in me wanting to pick up the next book, is I want more of his story. Because I do love like a character-driven story, which so I'm quite excited for more Sam. Because I was just like, this man, this small man, my son.
Libby did a very good job at like making each of these characters feel like distinct with their own struggles, but I also feel like that was a detriment to it because on the flip side, you have Thea, Henry, Memphis's brother, whose name
Isaiah.
Isaiah. Yeah. Then you've got Evie, and then you have Mabel, and then you have Jericho, and then you have Will, and then you have Sam. So there's a lot of people to kind of like take care of, and because of that, I felt like there were like times where like I was like, we're focusing a lot like on like Mabel, and she's just being like kind of annoying. Like, and yeah, exactly, like she's just being like rich girl out on the town, and like, or having like sometimes and they're just like gossiping and like just doing whatever, which is fun, but it's like maybe don't insert like a whole chapter about them messing around and like talking about boys when like we're trying to figure out like where this like angry wraith is and like who's literally murdering people. Choices.
Abby makes a good point about Jericho is in fact Hot Frankenstein monster, and he's Hot Frankenstein. I don't want to say boyfriend because he's obviously too young for me, but he is hot, so he cannot be my son. So he's just like Hot Frankenstein man child.
The last chapter where Evie's like, but Mabel, and he's like, I don't care, I want you, and she was like, what do I want right now? And she's like, I just want to make out, so I guess I'll just do this. I was like, queen.
I love
relatable.
That. So good.
Relatable content.
I do sometimes get sick of that like YA pining where they're like, oh no, and Evie was just like, meh, I'll sort it out later.
Evie was a really interesting female protagonist. She was haughty, she threw temper tantrums, she was kind of annoying sometimes, but not in the like, I'm so different than everyone else, which I find a lot of YA female protagonists to like just are so annoying because they have the not like other girl things, and I think that's because a lot of men tend to write female protagonists that way, or like the female protagonist like self-inserts for like whatever.
I really hate a self-insert female protagonist, honestly. I'm like, annoying.
I feel a love triangle coming on though. Love triangles can be fun. It depends.
But it's not a triangle, it's a square because it's Mabel, Evie, Sam, and Jericho. And Evie likes Sam. No, Evie likes Jericho. And Mabel likes Jericho. And Sam likes Evie. So, like, there's 4 of them in this.
Yeah. What's really funny, though, is when Mabel and Evie were talking, and like Sam was just like, "Oh, you know, I'm gonna see you later, girl," and he like trips as he like walks away or something, and then Mabel's like, "Oh my god, he has it so bad for you," and Evie's like, "No, he doesn't. He just wants what he can't have," and I'm like, "No, I'm pretty sure that man's like literally in love with you."
It's just like, hello, come on.
Like, this man may be a swindler, but he definitely wants to swindle your heart as well.
Oh, we love to see it. Which is fun. Like, it is just fun, like, which I guess is the whole point of the book, right? Like, it was just like a fun time. It was fun to read. That I felt.
Do you know what I thought was like not fun? And I think this is just a byproduct of my intense fascination with literal like small town murder, like true crime stuff, and also just a lot of like I just consume a lot of like murder mystery content because it's one of my favorite things. I feel like I know it's like the main plot, but I feel like that's like the weakest component for me. I don't know if you felt like that. I felt like the murder mystery. I was like, yeah, that's going on, but like I definitely read this more for like just like the character interactions and like them understanding like their magical abilities and like Evie learning about the diviners as a byproduct of investigating this murder, which I feel like maybe that was the point, was like this is a like it's a the Naughty John murders is a really good way to like integrate that world building if for like whatever like the next couple of books is, because like Marina said in chat that that this is like the only like occulty book, so like I'm thinking that's maybe why like the murder mystery aspect kind of like failed for me, because like it seemed like it was just there just to kind of facilitate them understanding like their bodies and their supernatural abilities to harness, and then now they're all junior detectives, and I'm assuming they will be solving more mysteries in the next coming like books.
Interestingly though, they introduced like in the first like 4 chapters of the second book, they introduced more characters. So like
that's a choice.
I don't know. I don't know. I would be interested to see the like vision board and like the overall plot planning for the story, because it is true, like the murder mystery part definitely wasn't as strong as the other parts of the book. So
there's a bunch of different layers that Libba Bray brought out. I feel like it was more about Evie and her wanting to leave the small town vibes to live her city life. Can honestly relate though. Yes, it's very true. Not like a side story instead of the main. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was like it definitely that was a big selling point to me, was like oh, supernatural people like trying to figure out like weird ghost murder. Sign me up. And then what I got was just like, howdy towdy, we're out on the town trying to figure out why we're magical. And I was like, I mean, that's good
touching
too.
Those shoe buckles.
Ones will be fleshed out and interesting. I'm sure they are. I think Libba Bray has really made like very interesting and intriguing standalone characters. But I feel like the threads for them, I think it's just I don't know if this is her first book she ever wrote. So maybe like I guess take all of my criticisms with like a grain of salt. And it's also the first book in a series, so like which is why I'm not like I hated this because of this. But I definitely feel that either she fully knew she was writing a series and purposefully left things out to explore other books for different reasons, or just the first approach to the books and her writing style will develop as the series goes through. I think my daughter ready for bed. Bye, everyone. Bye.
Me and Rogue and Gambit say goodnight, Kelly. Love you. Thank you for coming. Cute. Yeah, she had written like some romance books or something like that beforehand, I feel like something definitely not in like the YA fantasy genre for sure. Yeah. I felt like the abilities, the powers and stuff were not like super fleshed out. And I don't know if that was like a purposeful choice or if she just didn't know at the point of writing this book like what they were all going to be, because obviously like Isaiah and Memphis have very different powers, but then like Henry and Evie have kind of similar powers because obviously like crossing over in the dreams, and then like what's Theta's, like why Theta and Memphis having like the same dream. What's Theta? So yeah, I definitely want to learn more about that, and it's kind of annoying that it wasn't part of the world building necessarily, but I'm predicting that we will probably get some more like flashback sequences because there has been like a flashback sequence for Henry in the second book already, so I think that that's going to be like a trope that's leaned on quite heavily. Maybe.
Well, isn't the second book literally called like Layer of Dreams?
Yeah, Layer of Dreams.
Her first book was A Great and Terrible Beauty in 2003. Yeah, so that's kind of just, I assumed that a lot of my questions will probably be answered in books 2 and 3. You know, oddly enough, I feel like Memphis's powers and like his backstory for his powers and reasoning behind like his like PTSD like with his mother, I feel like that was fleshed out and more explained than like Evie's. And I don't know if other people felt like that. So I thought that was a little weird. And that's when I noticed like I was like, oh, there's a lot of like emphasis on like Memphis and like his like ability to like heal, because like that's what ultimately like it backfires and that's what like harms. Okay, something was a better character than Evie. Updated. Yeah, she did. It's interesting. It's like these characters are all so interesting, but then I don't know, I feel like there was like the pacing and the development of them just wasn't like balanced, and I feel like a lot of that gets clogged down by it's like we're on Mabel and Evie right now, and then we're gonna get the chapters were really long. Also, I noticed. And some of them were really short. So like it was just, I don't know, some of it felt like such a slog to like get through, and then like other parts you're just like the last 75 pages goes by quickly, but like that like 200 pages before is kind of like yes, I think that would be so good, be so cute. Yeah, no offense to Evie, but it was better. Yes. Yes. So like I kind of had a hard, like I fell asleep reading like from around like 200 like 30 until like literally when that last murder happens, and I was like, oh, we're on the last stretch, and then like everything is just going like downhill, and there, you know, like Evie's like in the like actual like spirit like tied house for John, and he's just like threatening her and like talking about her brother and shit. I was just like, what is going on? That's like kind of when I like was like zoomed back into the story, and I was like, hey, wait, what?
I don't know if anybody else does that, but those like so in a book, right, if you break it up into quarters, and that like action sequence that's at the start of the like last quarter, you know, like the climactic part, I always find that shit so boring, like especially if it's like a fight sequence. I'm always like, come on, because I find myself, I always skim over the bits where like she's tied up or they're fighting or like he's under mind control or like whatever. I'm like, oh yeah, okay, cool. I don't actually need to read this to know what happens, because they're gonna rehash it later when they're like, we're saved. So,
that's really funny.
I don't know if that's just a byproduct of reading YA stuff as an adult. So I'm like, yeah, I know what's going to happen. Like, I don't actually need to know the specifics, or if it's just a me thing where I'm like, because I've done the same thing with so many books now with those specific action sequences that, you know, like this part of the book. I'm like,
I also think it was like, for me, this book was like a really big shift in like tone and like it was like hard for me to like finish it. So the reason I like only read like 3 books like I finished 3 books, but I like in the middle of a couple. But the book that I like reading before the Diviners was like I'm in the middle of like Song of Achilles.
Yeah.
And I like
That's
put
a
Song of
different book
Achilles
completely.
down. And then I feel like that was also like in the back of my mind. I was like, I just want to know what like Patroclus? Like
Patroclus?
Patroclus and Achilles. I was like, I just want to read about my baby boys. Which is like so bad. And then like I am like trying, I don't know. So like I feel like just like that like historical romance aspect, and then like getting hints of romance in here, and I was just like, okay, I need to like finish this book because like we're doing a thing, but also I just want to know about my babies. So so I also feel like that doesn't help because like I don't know about anyone else, but the Song of Achilles is so good.
I'm saving it, like, because I've read, like, maybe, you know how you can, on Kindle, you can get the, like, sample thing? So I've read that. And then I was like, okay, I need to save this for when I'm in the exact right mood so I know it's going to be, like, 5 out of 5 star chef's kiss. Otherwise, if I read it in the wrong mood, I would be like,
yeah.
You know?
Yeah, no, I totally feel. So I think that was the reason why I kind of was like, I read the book for the first time at like 17, 18.
I feel like that would be such a good time to read this. I feel like that would be super fun. And it makes sense that you had a completely different reaction like as an adult because like your brain is completely different, you know, at like 25 to when it is at 17, you know. So that's super interesting. I love that you reread it like at both points. That's cool. Yeah,
I don't usually read historical fiction, which is why an audiobook was a bit better format for me. I actually got through it quicker listening to the audiobook than like physically reading it. And I wonder if that's because I'm not like I was like talking to my boyfriend about like I was like have I been out of the like YA game for so long that like going back to it is like hard for me because I like read The Raven Boys, which is like some like a lot of people when they talk about like YA, it's like it's usually like the reason this is even on my list is like because like the way that it usually goes is like a court of like the Sarah J. Maas stuff, and then like Lee Bardugo's like Six of Crows stuff, and then like Raven Boys, and then like the Diviners is almost always like the succession of it, which is why this was on my radar. And then like I read that I read the first Sarah J. Maas, A Court of Thorns and Roses, and a lot of people like it, so I'm not going to say what I think about the first book.
We already know you don't like it. It's fine. Like I love it, and Sheena loves it, but we accept that you don't.
And I think Abby loves it too, but also like
she does.
Yeah, but also like I don't typically read like romantic things like that. So like for me, I think it's just I don't think I'm personally of the opinion that I think I may not like it because I'm just not used to reading things like that. Because I DNF'd The Raven Boys when I first read it, and I was like, this is fucking stupid. And then I like just reread it and I like loved it. And I was like, okay, so I feel like I'm like getting more accustomed to like what I should be expecting from them. And just like I read Six of Crows and I was like, okay, yeah, I love that, but like that doesn't feel like YA. It feels like an adult book. So it was just like very confusing for me. And then reading this, I feel like I was talking to my boyfriend about it and I was just like, this is like I think I could tell that like there's a disconnect for me in my head when I read something like this because like I'm so used to literally reading like I don't know, like Chuck Palahniuk stuff and like Mark Danielinsky and like Harumi, was his like Makari and like stuff like that. So I think it's just like a really weird like 180. My brain isn't like this is my brain and this is me wanting to love it. And then it's just like it's just like not working in my head and
it's like not
so
going
weird.
in.
It's so weird because I felt when I was reading this, I was having such a hard time getting through the middle of this book. Like it started off really strong. And then like as we're learning more about like Mabel and Evie, I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
whatever. Like I don't care.
That's the part that needed to just be edited down or edited right out, that whole like middle bit that just is nothing. As well as it being like a jarring shift from like, you know, like what you're usually reading to YA fantasy essentially. That bit was just like unnecessary, so it just bogs down the experience even more, I feel like.
Yeah, and I don't want anyone to think that it's like an elitist thing. I recognize in my head that there's like a disconnect. Like I can feel it. You know what I mean? It doesn't help that I don't read romance, and I find a lot of romantic underplots to kind of be like annoying to me.
Yeah.
And it also doesn't help that I kind of hate character tropes too. Like a lot of standard, like the miscommunication thing. Like that's so annoying to me.
Yeah.
Like it's so frustrating.
For such a long time, I actually thought I was too stupid to read adult books. But I don't think it's not an intelligence thing. Like as I've got older, I've realized it's nothing to do with intelligence. It's just, I think one, it's like a mental health thing, and two, it's just a taste thing. Like sometimes that's just how your taste runs. And if your taste is like Chuck Poller, I can't say his last name, Poller, how do you say it?
Polinick.
Polinick. Like if your taste runs like Chuck Polinick or, you know, like Brandon Sanderson, or your taste runs like Sarah J. Maas, like that's not an intelligence thing. But for so long, I thought it was, and I was like, I'm too fucking stupid to get into like adult books. It actually took a long time. It took until I read, like, not that long ago, even like The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern.
Yeah.
And I did a review on it, and I got my workmate Andrew, who did read The Diviners with us. I got him to proofread it, and I was like, I almost feel like I was like too stupid to like get it. And he's like, I don't understand why you think that it would be anything to do with you being stupid or not, because like you can read it and you can comprehend it, and that's the end of it. And I was like, duh.
No, yeah.
So like, yeah. So, yeah, exactly. Like I was like, fuck, I'm an asshole for thinking that for so long. Like, I don't know why I thought it. Because like the implications of me thinking that are obviously like quite far reaching as well. And I was like, oh my God. So yeah. People's tastes are just different. I think that's the end of it. Like, and like you don't like romance is a subplot, but I love like romance in any form. So
yeah, it's like I think I said it the last when we did our when we were doing our reading sprints for the Diviners. The most romantic thing I've ever read in my life was literally the Twilight series.
Yeah.
When I was like 16. So that's something to think about for sure. Like I'm like looking at my books and like yeah, that's like the most romantic this like I read Lazy Jones and the Six. I hated that book, so like I you know, like I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't want to have to read a book.
So this just doesn't interest me, to be fair.
What?
Days in the Six, it just does not interest me at all. So
do you like Fleetwood Mac?
Not really, like not to my taste, I don't think.
Oh, okay. Just because that book is literally like it's the story of like the Fleetwood Mac band. Like it's you don't need to know it. Romances and YA feel so low stakes to me because it's like y'all are children. It's more digestible for me. Yeah, everyone's just a little bit different. I think I was just like I don't know how my reading. I think I just really liked Panic at the Disco when I was like 15. And then all of the like music off of like Vices and Virtues, or not Vices and Virtues, that's like their third album. All of the like song titles and a lot of like lyrics in A Fever You Can't Sweat Out is like literally like Chuck Palahniuk like quotes or like book like titles and stuff like that. So I literally and then like My Chemical Romance, and that was a lot of like literature inspired stuff. So it was like all of my favorite bands, they had like book inspirations in their music, and then I literally went out and just like read that when I was like 15, and I think it completely shaped like how I read nowadays. I was like, why did I read Fight Club when I was 15? I'm pretty sure it ruined my brain. It was like too much knowledge at such a young age.
I love hearing how people got like interested in what they're interested in though. Like I think that's so cool. So I don't know. Like it is a lot to put into your brain as a child essentially, but also it's like a cool story to have now to be like, this is how I think I got to like the things that I like. Like I think that's so neat.
Yeah. I was just talking about, because like I was talking in the car with my boyfriend because he was like, well, why didn't you think it was spooky enough? And I was like, I don't know. Like there was like we didn't even really get to like see the murder scenes. And he was like, who's this book for? And I was like, I think it's for like older. I think it's for like older teens. I think it's a YA book. And he was like, why would that be in a YA book? And I was like, yeah, you got a point there. He was like, why would you get like detailed murder scenes? And I was like, yeah, you got a point there. Oopsies. But
I just want to go back to her comment. I think I definitely read mostly YA because obviously like I picked this and then the book that I picked for next month is also YA. And I think I just do it because like I have said a couple times, I do a lot of my reading by audio while I'm at work. And so obviously like I don't want to be reading like, you know, like the Store My Archive or whatever, like while I work because I can't concentrate on it. So it's also like how you read, I think like plays into your taste because like you said, Sinya, that you don't often or like haven't really done like a lot of audiobook reading. Like you're more of like a physical and like sometimes a note taker and stuff like that. Is that right? And I think that's also like to do with like your taste and stuff, like in your book choices and like what works best for you because of the way that you read. I know it's just something that I was thinking about. Oh, same, Abby. Same.
I'm a hopeless romantic, so I think that's why I love white. Oh, that's so cute, though. I want to be. I thought it was super spooky because I don't, so the bare minimum is enough to be spooky. I love that, though. Don't ever read horror content. I am an example of like what happens when you allow a child to witness things that they shouldn't witness. Like I am the prime example. It's like 5 years old and I've watched Tarantino movies and I've seen like all of the horror classics and I was like thrusted into like super intense like fantasy and horror at like in my teen years. And it's like I am literally the example of like this is what happens when you expose your child to information they shouldn't have access to just yet. Literally like being 7, like watching like David Cronenberg's like The Fly, like like this, like there's just something wrong with me.
And it's funny when you watch that kind of stuff as a child, it does like stick in your brain because I remember watching like, do you ever remember seeing like on TV? I have this real distinct memory of like Easter weekend one year and we'd like eaten all our Easter eggs and we were just like laying around watching TV and there was one of those really old like claymation, like stop motion movies on and it was like must have been from like the 60s or something because it was like the classic like savages on an island and there are dinosaurs and I just have this real distinct memory of being like, why does that lady not look like my mum because she was wearing like the classic, you know, like robe on the savage island, like little scrappy bikini thing, and that's just like stuck in my head from because I must have been like 8 then. So
yeah, my first
you retain like that.
My first film memory is like the anime scene from like Kill Bill 1. So what does that say about me as a person?
That you're amazing.
Distinct. If a book doesn't have an audio book, I probably won't read it. I have terrible reading comprehension, so I need the audio to help digest what I'm reading. That is super valid. I've noticed now that because like you have turned me on to audiobooks, so like I have like a Scribd like like free trial right now, and I like listened to the audiobook for like another book, and I like got through it pretty quickly, and I was like, oh, that's like so cool. And then I noticed, I think that I'm going to find so many more books enjoyable being able to listen to it. Like, I think if I didn't have the audiobook for The Diviners, I think I would have DNF'd it. So, but like I was able to like finish this book because when it was good, I could like pick up the physical copy and read. And then when I was kind of like feeling like it was slowing down for me personally, I could turn on the audiobook. So I feel like audiobooks will bring a lot like more enjoyment in my reading. Because I don't know, I felt like I was like such an asshole when I was like, why don't I like a lot of books? And I was like, maybe I just wasn't incorporating the best way to like digest like book information and stuff like that. So I think that's totally valid.
It's such a good, like, accessible way to read books as well, especially when you can get them out from your your libraries. Mm-hmm. Like, I think it's so cool that you guys have such like ready access to getting books out from your libraries and stuff as well. It's so good. Mm-hmm. She's being a sookie baby, and my daughter put a t-shirt on him for some reason. So we're
he is so cute.
Yeah, she is the best. She's a big baby.
But aside from that, I did have fun with the Diviners, and it was really fun being in Discord with everyone, and it was super cool to kind of like all like buddy read this together and kind of like keep up to date. It felt, I don't know, just like it was fun. I don't really have more to say because I feel like the book was long, but not a lot of stuff happened.
Yeah, it was just like fluffy and fun, and like you're just invested in the characters, but there's not a lot more to like dissect with it, I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Also, just going back to the audiobook thing, I was going to say, and then Atlas started licking me, and you had some like super good points that you made. But sometimes when I get sent a book for review from publishers, I like panic internally, and I get really stressed because it doesn't have an audiobook out yet. And I'm like, how am I going to read it if there's no audiobook? So, yeah. Also, you should, and so should you, Abby, soon when you reach 1,000. But on Libra FM, if you have more than 1,000 followers on any social media platform, you can sign up for their advanced audiobook like listeners like ARC program thing. Sarah and I get them like every month, and so there's some really cool like choices in there. Like every month there's like 5 or 6 that you can choose from to like download and review like early, like a month early. So yeah, you should definitely
really
sign up for it.
Yeah, that's really good for everyone in chat that's close to that number. Do it. We could all be cool.
Yeah, exactly. And I think we are going to, like in the Discord, most people wanted to read the second book this month. So I think from tomorrow until the 8th of March, we're going to do it. But I don't know if you wanted to join in, because I know that you have been having like a tough time with like work and like fitting in your reading. So I didn't want to like take up your time with something that you didn't 100% love.
Well, here's the thing. I think, you know, what really did it for me when it came to like why not just like, because like I've been having like, for everyone who's watching, I've been having kind of just like a hard time balancing my work life with like my home life, and like where that like, because it's like I get really tired and kind of don't want to do anything, and then like the time that I do spend, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do this for me, and then all of a sudden I'm like, shit, I have to make dinner and I have to go to bed. The fuck, like, you know, like it's just like doesn't feel like I have enough time during my day. But also like the book club, like Sell Your Soul book club, like book for January, I'm pretty sure this book like put me in a reading slump.
Yeah, because if you didn't like something, right, it is gonna make you be like, oh, fuck this. Because
I'm pretty sure this book ruined my brain. For everyone out there, you could watch me and Stephanie just completely like fucking roast this book. This book was, I've been cursing. I'm so sorry if like that's not okay. I just realized that.
That's on my channel. It's all right.
This book was awful, and I also think that had something to do with it too. Where it was just like, man, I can't read, and then like what I am reading, I'm like, oh, this was so bad. This like ruined. This was upsetting. Anyways, I also think Suki. Yes, exactly.
I put the link for the Libra FM thing in the chat also.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that's super cool. So I feel like there's a lot of that. And then also like the whiplash I get from like I read multiple things at one time,
Yeah.
which maybe I should stop doing that because maybe it like this is the byproduct of like literally in the middle of Song of Achilles and I'm in the middle of the Dragon Republic.
Yeah.
And I
That's
like
a lot of different places to pull your brain power.
yeah, so I feel like maybe I shouldn't like be in the middle of everything all the time. Which I have a really bad habit of doing it because I'm a mood reader, so I'll like pick something up. Like when I went, okay, so like for the Diviners, I was like, okay, and then I read like the first 100 pages, and I was like, wow, that's really cool. And then like every couple of days, I'd like try to read, and then I'd be like, okay, I'm going back to go read about like Achilles, you know.
Bye.
And I was like, bye. Like the moment I'd see like Mabel like whining, I'd be like, gotta go check back on my boys.
I just want to see my
Anyway.
boys right now. Marina, what arcs do you have? I'm super interested to know.
Yeah.
I just got approved for the arc on NetGalley for that Rogue Untouched book that's coming out later in the year. Have you seen that one?
No, I don't know what that is.
Oh, hold on. I'll try and find it. Rogue. Yeah. I got this. I'll send you a link so you can have a look at it because I got approved for it within like a day. And it looks kind of fun, like a just like junky, like not super plot heavy, like fillery, like palette cleanser about a character that I like. So yeah, I'm interested to read it. I love
That's
when people
cool.
get arcs because it's so helpful to talk to someone that you know and like love about like books they've read so you know if you need to buy them or not. So
Into the Woods by Aidan Thomas. Rogue Untouched. Oh, is that the book you got approved for? And A Dark and Hollow Star. Wait, is that the one with the pretty cover? Dark and
Never Walk by Aidan Thomas. I need to request that. I want it.
like, let me look.
Yay.
Yeah, it does have a really pretty cover. It's some girl dragon. That's cool. Yay! Yeah, I have an arc for But Why Though too. I have the arc for Trouble Girls by Julie Ann. I said Roberts, but her name is like Julianne something with an R. I mean, I'm so bad with names sometimes. Trouble, which is a like queer retelling of like Thelma and Louise, and I'm so excited about it.
That sounds amazing. Just saying that it's a queer retelling of anything is like makes me sold.
Julia Lynn Rubin. I don't know.
Yeah.
Girl. Yes. I have an arc for that, so I'm gonna be reading that. And then I wanna like I think the missing puzzle piece in like when I'm bouncing around books, I think I used to tell people that it's like I always have to have like a thriller or like a horror book like in the mix. Otherwise like my equilibrium is thrown off. And this was January was like so like I wouldn't consider like this like True Blood because like I would consider it like it was very like romancy with a murder mystery thing and it was like depressing for me. And I wouldn't really consider that like horror, so to speak. So I didn't really have any like thrillers that I was like for sure like I'm gonna definitely love it in the mix. And I feel like that's the missing puzzle piece. I don't know if like people curate their like TBRs like that, but if anyone wants a hint into my brain, I feel like I need to have like one fantasy book that I'm like one heavy deep thing that like when I need to take a break because it's getting a little like too much and too like bogged down. And then I need to have like something fun to read. And then I need to have like something like batshit fucking like off the walls like horror thing. And then like maybe like a hit like maybe like a romance or something like that. Like I feel like that's like the special concoction that I need for my brain. So it's like, oh, don't want to read this right now. I have that I can go to, you know? Does that make sense? Like I feel like
it totally does because you're like checking off all of the like points at your brain when you're like most entertained kind of thing, like all of the things you like to consume, you've got like one of each. I feel like it makes total sense. Also, side note, so while you were saying that, my dog was obviously getting like pissed off that I'm not paying attention to her, and she's like chewed up this box. Like when I say she's a brat, like she's
cute
a brat.
though.
She's so cute, so like I let her have it, but like rude. silly.
But yeah, did you have any other thoughts on the Diviners, or did anyone in chat want to say anything that we haven't talked about yet?
Chat, give us things to say. You want it? In your little jumper? There you go. Oh, trouble. You take it. We're wearing matching shirts.
Cute. But yeah, I think that's basically all of my thoughts on the Diviners. I liked it. Didn't love it. Wish it could have been spookier, but understand why it wasn't. I think I would give it like a 3.5.
That's a fair rating. Like, that's a pretty good rating, I think.
Like, it was solid. It just, like, I wanted so much more.
Yeah, those are good points. Like, she did, like, for a white woman writing this, she did quite a good job at trying to cover that stuff off to acknowledge it. So I think she probably had a good sensitivity reader attached to it, maybe, because you know that, like, authors don't have good sensitivity readers when you notice it's just, like, rammed in there really, like, insensitively, or it's not included at all in anything historical. Stop, baby.
Well, that's what I at the beginning of the stream, when I was like, I really liked how real this place felt, and it didn't feel like a whatchamacallit. Like, I think the YA-ness would have stuck out immediately if New York didn't feel as authentic to 1926 as it could have been, because I read in the back in the little like afterword where it was like she read like a bunch of like historical like pieces and like had a lot of research, and she probably also had like a sensitivity like you said, because she did tackle a lot of that, things like with Memphis and stuff like that. Like it was pretty solid and spot on.
I thought it was
better as an audiobook than a written book, so 3.5 stars for me. Woo, 3.5 star gang.
Yeah. I think I gave it 4 just because I feel like I will definitely reread it just as like a purely like a comfort, like escapist type read. So yeah, that sort of qualifies it up to a 4 in my brain's rating system. But like realistically and objectively, it is like a 3 or a 3.5 star book. So.
Oh my god, my favorite thing to do is like on Goodreads, like when I like something, I'm like, objectively, I understand people will give it a 2, but I give it a 5 out of 5 because I don't care. Like one of my new favorite books is Flowers in the Attic by V.C. Andrews, and I know that's like a super unpopular opinion for a lot of people, and I totally, it's very valid, and a lot of people are like, this is the worst thing I've ever read in my life, and I was like, I really liked that. That was good. 5.
I liked it 5. I'm pretty good at curating my TBRs and choosing what books to read when I know that I'll probably like them. But I did last year hate read 2 books by an author that I really don't like. And when I rated them on Goodreads, I rated 1 2 stars and 1 1 star. And my old workmate Andrew, who did read this with us, I mentioned him before, he messaged me and he was like, I fell off my chair. I've never seen you rate anything so low. And I was like, I fucking hate E.K. Johnson. So thank you, Bubba. Sorry. So yeah, I thought that was funny.
That is really funny. I think I haven't. I mean, I gave that the True Blood book. I gave it a 1, and I gave Marked. I think also a 1, and then I've given some other things 1s, but there's very few things that I don't purposefully try to read things that I don't think I'm gonna like. You know, I feel like I'm
such a waste of time. Like, why try and read something just for like clickbait or whatever? These are the 2 books that I rated like the lowest, which is a shame because I love this character and like obviously I love Star Wars, but Sarah will know. I'm pretty sure I was texting her at the time, but dear God, this author doesn't know what a plot is. She does not. She doesn't know what a plot is. So
yeah, it's like I really don't try to read things I don't like because it's just like upsetting. And same thing with like my comics and my manga. I'm not trying to read like bad shit. And if it is bad, like I know it's bad and I'm like indulging myself, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I can't do what Jen does on her Patreon where she lets like people choose her pull list for her, or she like just gets everything. Like I just I find it so amazing that people can just read stuff even though they're pretty sure that they won't like it, because I just cannot get my brain to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
like
Sarah agrees.
She did Padme dirty.
So
No,
dirty.
Padme is so cool though.
Yeah.
I've actually never read a Star Wars book, but like there was something that came out. Like Emily Duncan, I believe is her name.
Yeah.
She wrote like Wicked Saints and whatnot.
Yeah.
She's like, is she? I don't know if she's like a Reylo. Anyways, she really likes Kylo Ren. I know for sure.
Is a Reylo. She does look
and
Kylo. Maquillage is like her dream version of Kylo Ren, I feel. If you read the book Wicked Saints, and then in the back she thanks her editor, and there's a bit where she says like her editor would ask her like, what would Kylo Ren do?
Mm-hmm. So she's got me like, I already really like Kylo Ren because I think Adam Driver is really cool, and like this is like my rationale for like why I love Twilight is like people are like, why do you love it? And I was like, you mistaken. Like I love Twilight because I love Robert Pattinson. Like that's very important to acknowledge. And it's like I love the prequel series because I love Kylo Ren because I love Adam Driver. And it's like very important to me that it's like, so like she's been talking about like Kylo a lot, and like I'm like really like fixated on getting like Kylo Ren like fan art, like art prints in my house. But also apparently there are like books that are out that are like either like not necessarily like Reylo ships where it's like the protagonist is like fictionalized their own version of Kylo, and I'm like, that is interesting and I want to read it.
I have one.
Black Moon Rising.
Like a Reylo fanfic that they published on Amazon.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So I bought it just because I was like, we support. I also follow like a bookbinder on Twitter, and she binds up a lot of Reylo fan fiction for people into these like beautiful editions. So I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I think V was me in love with Kylo, and I haven't watched the movies. It has me in love with Kylo, and I haven't even watched the movies. Nicholson's review of that book is hilarious.
I don't know if she means this book or if she means the E.K. Johnson ones. I'm not sure.
But yeah, no, I've never read a Star Wars book in my life. I do like Star Wars though. I have a Star Wars backpack, and when the remake came out, not A New Hope. It's not A New Hope. What is it? The Force Awakens, I think is what it's called. I literally bought so much Kylo Ren merch. It's like disgusting to think about. Like I have a Kylo Ren like lunchbox, like a steel Kylo Ren lunchbox. I have like a Kylo Ren hat. I had like a wooden like vinyl player that I like covered in like Kylo Ren stickers. Like it was.
Well, I think this is why I must have followed you initially on Twitter, because I'm pretty sure you had like posted some Kylo Ren stuff, and I was just like, follow.
Yeah, I love him. Even though like I don't care about Star Wars like as much as other people do, but like I love him.
Yeah.
And like
you should read this book if you do decide to pick up a Star Wars book, Lost Stars by Claudia Gray. Unfortunately, I am telling you to read another YA book, but I don't feel like it reads particularly YA, and you can also pick it up in manga form because there's 3 mangas, so I feel like that would be right up your alley.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
So I would definitely recommend. I'm showing it to you like this because I ripped the dust jacket and it's only black on the front, but yeah.
No, I love that.
It does have like romance as a main like plot point, but I just think it's really cool. I think it's neat.
I am trying to diversify my reading and figure out where my line for romance is, because I read what is it called? Get a Life, Chloe Brown, and I like loved that. I loved it. Like it was like that was like the best romance book I like ever read in my life, and I loved that. But then I read Daisy Jones and the Six, and I like hated that. But I do have Julie Berry's Lovely War here, and I also have the Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Yeah, here too. Those are 2 romances I'm going to attempt to read to see if whatchamacallit, like that'll be okay. I also have Gideon and Harrow the Ninth, which is like lesbian necromancers like in space. And like obviously like there's romance in that, but I feel like because of the like goth horror stuff, I think it'll be like okay. So like I'm trying. I'm like actively like attempting. And then I read Six of Crows and I liked that a lot. And I loved actually Marina gave me she literally sent me money so that I could like read Crooked Kingdom. It was like or no, she gave me money to read The Cruel Prince. That's what it was. But she got me into reading like the Lee Bardugo stuff. So I read like Six of Crows because of her. And then I also read Crooked Kingdom, and then I loved that. But also it's like I don't know. Anyways, so I'm trying my best. I think it's important to be like a diverse reader. So like I definitely know where my faults are and like why I'm very self-aware, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
But before you read any other romance, could you please just read Take a Hint, Danny Brown? I feel like it's important for my health and well-being that you read Take a Hint, Danny Brown.
Yeah, actually,
everybody that I talk to, everybody on this planet needs to read Take a Hint, Danny Brown. I swear to God, it's so good. So
I think it's like the audiobook is dropping on Scribd like later this month. Let me see.
Yeah. Get it.
I'm looking at it. Yeah, I'm on chapter 10 of 34 on The Song of Achilles.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Candace, I think we should buddy read Leia, Princess of Alderaan, because I actually have not read it either, and I really want to read it this year. So shall we do a buddy read for it? Because that would be fun. We can add like a Star Wars tab on the Discord. I reckon that would be cool. I really want to read Black Sun Rising. I feel like it needs to be a book club pick like later in the year maybe.
That is a book that I definitely have on my to-do list. Let's see. Talia Hibbert. Author. Available books. Take a Hint, Danny Brown. Yes, it will be available on 2/22/21. So that's when I know it's like coming out. So it's coming out in a couple weeks on Scribd. So that's when I'm gonna read it because I like added a whole bunch of like audiobooks onto like my Scribd, and then I was like, I'm gonna listen to them, and then it was like it's not available until the end of like February, and I was like, sad.
I'll read it with you when you read it because the third book, whatever it is, the third book, the one about Eve Brown is coming out in March, so that's like probably pretty good timing. So that'll be American.
Yeah. Very cool.
Also, listening to the audiobook at the moment, and she said it's really good. So I'm like,
yes. Also, for people who are watching right now, so like Victoria is like a permanent member on the Sell Your Soul book club, and we have our February pick, which is These Violent Delights by Chloe Gong, and I downloaded it on my Kindle, and I'm actually super excited to read that. Thank you. I'm super excited to read that because like retelling of Romeo and Juliet, hello? Like when I say that like the most romantic thing I've read recently is Twilight, the next thing would be like consistently rewatching the Baz Luhrmann like Romeo and Juliet, like Leonardo DiCaprio, Claire Danes. Like that is also like one of my absolute favorite things.
Yeah.
Yes, read. I think it was I got it like on sale on Kindle, so it was like $10.99 as opposed to like $20 like a regular hardcover. So if you don't want to like pay the price for a new hardcover, there's a deal for that book right now. So do that.
Or if you do want to get the hardcover, like if you've got the spare coins, I just put the link for the like Owl Crate one that they're still selling on their website. It's got like fan art and stuff in the dust jacket. So if you have $20 to spend on a book, there is another cool option as well. Or if you want to get it on Kindle, get it on Kindle because it's way cheaper because Cinya's got the deals clearly and stuff.
I love when I like do book club episodes and I'm always like, anyways, you can get the mass trade paperback for like $7.
Amazing. I felt really bad when I messaged you that I wanted to change my pick, but I felt like my first pick like wasn't super on brand for your like description of the book club. And I was like really vibing. I was staring at it on my bookshelf and I was like, I really
vibes are hard. No, it's okay because like
It was vibing. So yeah, I was like, because I had heard, I think Sarah can confirm or deny this, but there's like more like gory stuff happening and like kind of like enemies to lovers type thing. So I just felt like that, and it being like a retelling, and weirdly it's also set in 1920s. So I was like, this feels more on brand for the book club. So yeah. There's a deal on the audiobook. Oh, yes. We love that. Thank you, Candace. Love that you shared that.
Yeah, so if you guys want to join for that, you can. I'm actually really excited about that because that was a book like I wanted to read like anyways. Yeah. So it like worked out. It worked out just fine. We're really good on that.
Yay. Yes, ma'am, confirmed.
Yes, ma'am, confirmed.
Because Sarah read it for a read along with the New Zealand publisher, I believe. So she's already read it. I think. Cool. Did you get a 4-star, Sarah? So which is pretty good. Like, Sarah doesn't read like heaps and heaps and heaps of stuff. So for her to finish it and give it a 4-star, I feel like that's high praise.
I love it.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I gotta link the Discord again because I feel like I keep putting up the kind of link that expires because I'm dumb.
Oh yeah, no, Discord's just like based on true Chinese history, both extra spook and stud. Yay! And I feel like it's like on brand for like February too, like with the like enemies to lovers romance stuff going on.
Like Romeo and Juliet for February, like how perfect.
Yeah,
4 stars, yeah.
Big brain moves.
Yeah, I got one brain cell and I used it correctly for one. That's very nice. Oh, actually, speaking of Raylo, that's like Raylo art behind us here.
Oh, cute.
Yeah.
Cute.
And that also there is Raylo art.
That's funny. So, I have Wicked Saints over there. I haven't read it yet, but it's over there.
We'll have to read that in March so that you can read like the final book when it comes out in like May or April or whenever it is.
Yeah, there's it's the third book, right? There's
Blessed Monsters is the
second.
Is the third book. So Ruthless Gods is the second book. Wicked Saints is the first one. So this is Nadia. She's the main character. This is Seraphin. He's like one of the other characters. And then the fourth book is Malikiaj's book, and he's the Kylo Ren character.
Ooh, cool. Yeah. I follow Emily A. Duncan on Twitter, and I actually didn't know she was an author when I like followed her because I think I just saw her make like some like goth girl post, and I was like, cool. And then I found out that she's a writer, and I was like, wait a second, what? Ooh, that's pretty.
Yeah, this is like one of those like book box editions. So that's Seraphin, Nadia, and Malikiaj. And then this is the one that came with the second book. Yes, my man.
I really like that.
Yeah. So that's cool.
That's really cool. And then I found out that she has that book. And then like when I like went on like BookTube to see what people are saying, everyone's like, oh, this is like goth realness. And I was like, okay, I need it in my life.
Yeah. Yes, Sarah, you do need to read Ruthless Gods. It's very important for my well-being and my mental health that you read it. So if you were a real friend, you would do it right now. Just kidding. I love you. Honestly, I don't know if I could survive without Sarah, like SJ to message all the time. Like she puts up with so much of my like bullshit. So because she lives like just up north in New Zealand from me. So we're like on the same time zone, which is amazing. Yeah. Candace, my ones are the Owl Crate editions as well, I think. These two are the Owl Crate editions, and then this one of Ruthless Gods is the Owl Crate edition. It has the art on the reverse, but the other one with the art on the reverse for Wicked Saints is like Lit Joy or like one of those other book boxes. I don't know. I don't follow any of those book boxes anymore because I felt like they were bad for like FOMO and like mental health and stuff like that. So consumerism, etc.
Sometimes I want to buy them, and I'm like so close to cooking on like the box sets for like not just the books, but like the art prints and like the pins and like everything. And then I like see it's like $50, and I'm like, actually, no. Yeah. I was like, I could get like 5 used books for that same price.
Yeah. Yeah, hard out. I love a good used book. I did because I was like liking the start of the Diviners so much, I did pick this hardcover up used, which I think is such a cool cover because it's got like New York in the background and like the eye, so it looks really like a culty. So I just thought it was like, I thought it was neat.
Yeah, it's super fun. But yeah, I think that is all I have to say on the Diviners, as we have been long done with that for a while.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, this has been so fun. Honestly, I love chatting to you so much, and I love that we have like regular people in the chat that join us. It's so amazing. It's so cool having like our little community, like vibing and thriving and stuff. So this was so much fun, honestly.
Yes, people come and read these Violent Delights with us.
Yes, please.
Because I don't think February will be as awful as January. Hopefully.
No, hopefully you find some like balance and stuff like that. So
it's just like a lot of like reprioritizing my time and figuring out like and like just kind of like carving out like literally being like from like 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock, I'm just like gonna read. I also think I want to do like regular reading sprints on my channel.
Yeah.
So that like I can like it holds, it's like, okay, I'm like, there's another aspect of accountability because it's like, oh, people are gonna watch this, so I have to do it. I can't just be like, no. And 2, I'm so productive during reading sprints. Like I read so much. So like, why don't I just like do it? Like it's easier that way. So I also think that might help, but I don't know when I'm gonna like set all of that in motion.
Yeah. We will support. We would love that. See? We would love it.
To reading sprints. Yes, Sarah.
And like reading sprints I find are like really cool because even though like you're in a completely different time zone, it's something that I can still like put on my phone like while I'm sitting at my desk and work, and I can just like listen to my audiobook and then like switch back to you. So I think that's such a cool idea. Like I definitely would love to just sit in your little chat on your reading sprints or like join in sometimes and stuff as well. So yeah. Yay, Candace, I'm so glad you like them and have fun.
Yeah. I've Candace and I have been talking about Kingdom Hearts, and that like makes me so happy because I love Kingdom Hearts so much. I think about like Roxas and Axel, and I just like cry. I'm like, my babies, I love them.
And the music, Kingdom Hearts is like god tier music.
Kingdom Hearts 2 is one of my all-time favorite like video games. Like absolutely, like
PlayStation 2, and I don't even have a PlayStation 2 anymore, but I cannot bear to be parted with it. So
on my Twitter account like a while ago, but like the exact day that I finished like playing Kingdom Hearts 3, I think I literally posted like my crying face. So like if anyone's like interested, like it's there somewhere. Like I could find it, but yeah, I was literally just like bawling my eyes out drawing Kingdom Hearts dinner right now. I have to stand a queen.
Yes, I need the mangas because you read the manga in our last live stream. I need the manga so bad.
It was really good. It was like almost like frame for frame, like word for word, like the video game. So it's super fun. It like recontextualizes stuff, and I feel like Kingdom Hearts can be like if you don't want to think about it, it's just like, I love this, it's so fun, blah blah blah, like best friend's story. But like if you really want to like think about it, you could be like, what defines like a heartless? And it's like, and then you can be like, what is Xehanort doing, and what's all this like master stuff? And I feel like from the mangas that I've read, I feel like it definitely like recontextualizes and like organizes everything a lot better. So like I can kind of get more of a grasp on like the overarching things.
Yeah. It's got a lot of
emotional support bastards. Yeah, me too. They're my favorites. I love them. I love Demix. My stupid boy. I love him. Oh, nice doggy.
Look at her feet.
Just chilling. Living life.
Like the big spoiled princess that she is. Aren't you, dog? I feel like anytime I do a live stream or film a video, Atlas makes an appearance because she's such a clingy baby.
The second, it's cool to see the story outside of the game. So agreed. Yay!
Okay, I'm gonna look up the mangas when we get off this live stream.
Yes, it's definitely a good decision. It's a good investment. eventually. You should finish it and you should send it to me like immediately.
Yeah, do it.
But I think I should go because it's about to be 9 o'clock over here and I need to eat dinner.
You need to eat dinner, get some reading done, do the self-care things.
Yes, but this was so much fun. Thanks for everyone who read the Diviners with us. Sorry, I'm not super active in Discord, but I think February will be a lot different for me because I'm like changing some stuff, and I like a lot of the things I needed to get done. I got done, so now I can like breathe a little bit.
That's all we want to hear. Yep. Okay, well, we will sign off now and say bye to everyone, and thanks everyone for coming.
Bye.
And we will schedule some more live streams for these Violent Delights and stuff soon, I assume.
Yeah, we could figure it out like in text, but I'm sure we'll figure it out in like before like Wednesday for sure. Like before Wednesday, we'll definitely tell you when we're gonna do that.
Yay. Okay, thank you everyone.
Bye.
Bye.